Excited to get back on the floor after a little layoff in between games. We've had good practices, competitive practices, and we've tried to add a few things because we had the extra time and the game situational stuff and things of that nature as we get ready to play a stretch of a lot of games in a short period of time. But Troy is going to create some issues for us. They're averaging 87 points a game, 5 starters in double figures. They make 10 threes a game. And so whenever you're playing a team that's capable of making a three, you hope they don't run into a night where they're making 15 on you. They're a high-scoring team that we have to try to slow down and at the same time be able to function at an offensive level as we get Mcon back on the floor and try to figure out how to best use him as he works his way back into game shape and game timing.
Questions? You play Michigan in a week. How do you feel about the group right now leading up to that?
Yeah, I mean, I have to watch all our opponents. So I've been watching Michigan. I haven't studied them at length, but I've watched a couple of games on TV. The TCU game was a good game. The Wake Forest game, both one-possession games, overtime game. So that's college basketball. So as good as they were against Oakland, they're like everybody else, trying to find a way to play their best basketball. So we're excited for our opportunity to play against a really good Michigan team in Vegas next week.
Do you think Mcon will be on the floor for that game?
He'll be on the floor. He better be on the floor for Troy tomorrow night, and then hopefully a better version against Michigan the following Monday. So he's played one game since last February. So as good as he thinks he's going to be, and he's excited to be out there, there'll be a curve to try to get his timing back. And he's going to have to play through some frustration in that process, and I'm going to have to coach through some frustration as we get arguably our best player back on the floor and find his way into a game rhythm.
Have you made any decisions on redshirts yet?
No, obviously we haven't played Latrell yet, as he's probably the most likely candidate to redshirt, and he knew that when we took him. When we signed him, I told him if Bird and Goon are gone, we're going to need you. If they come back, we're going to be faced with a decision whether it's in your best interest and the team's best interest to redshirt. So it's hard to redshirt a player as good as him because he can contribute, but at the same time, we have a dilemma for minutes already with the guys we have. So unless we get hit with an injury that's long-term, I think Latrell is headed for a redshirt season.
He'd be the kind of player you'd want to get a lot of minutes out of if he was playing, right?
Yeah, I mean, they all want to get a lot of minutes, and so they're all capable. So we have to embrace the fact that our depth is our strength and keep fresh legs on the court, keep our defensive pressure up at a high level for 40 minutes and see if we can wear our opponents down.
Have you figured out how you might use Goon tomorrow night in the sense of you do play in long stretches to try to get him back into shape and rhythm, or does it just go very short segments?
We talked today, was he on a time restriction, and Sergio was going to talk to the doctors to check that. And, the thought might be 15 or 20 minutes. Well, 20 minutes on this team is almost playing a full rotation anyway. So if you're rolling along, you might get 25, 26, 27 minutes. But in a normal rotation, most guys are going to be around 20 minutes a game, it appears.
And you've had a 9-day break, which is rare for this time of year. I don't think there's another team that's only played 2 games in the country. Was that on purpose, or was that just a quirk of the scheduling?
It was just scheduling. I mean, we couldn't get anybody in here to play us, Even in bye games, people want to take their money elsewhere where they feel they have a better opportunity to win. So being good has its pluses and its minuses, and putting a schedule together is definitely harder to do when you've had the success we've had over the years.
So that said, how did you use these 9 days, and how much new stuff can you put in with that many practices?
We put in a lot of new stuff, both offensively and some defensive things we're working on, and we'll see where they lead. I don't want too much where all of a sudden we're running too many things and none of them well. So we try to be very selective, obviously trying to run some sets to get Mcon the ball now that he's back, try to run some plays specifically designated to get him the ball in areas where he can be dangerous. So those are things we're working on, not only for Troy, but for the rest of the season.
Assuming we won't see all those things against Troy, you'll save some for Michigan.
Whatever we need to win, you'll see. So we'll find the rhythm of the game and what we're having success with. But like I said, Troy's dangerous offensively. And so even if we get off to a good start, we know they're capable of putting runs together with the three-point shot. And even if we get behind early, we know that we can get back into the game. So Troy seems like a team that each team is capable of going on runs. So we want to keep theirs short and ours extended if we can.
How does it work to pick a team like Troy today? Is there like a Facebook page or something like we're looking for buy games? They're obviously not a local team, or how do you know they're going to be here and be interested in a game like this?
You know, we look at a lot of the metrics. You know, obviously they were an NCAA tournament team last year. And with that being said, if they return their whole roster, we might be a little leery to say, well, let's be careful about bringing them in. So we look and see what they've lost, what they have returning. We don't want bad teams in here. We want teams that are fairly competitive. And I think if you looked at our first couple of games, Long Beach State played us really well for a half. Idaho State was competitive. And Troy will be the same way. These are teams that are capable of playing with us, and we want to schedule games that'll make us better. But at the same time, we don't want to schedule bye games that end up in losses, and that's always the danger of bye games.
Dutch, where has Mcon just evolved as a person player over the last year? Like, what do you expect out of him this year that you maybe didn't see over the course of last year?
Yeah, well, we're hoping we saw him where he had that stretch of 6 or 7 games before he got hurt. Because when he started as a freshman last year, you know, he was getting the ball taken from him. He was getting stripped and putting it in areas where he shouldn't put it. And then as he started to get comfortable in the offense, he started being able to make plays in space. And so now he's got to get his timing back and figure out when it's his time to attack and when it's his time to defer to his teammates. So that will take time again. He's playing with a whole new team, and he's going to have to figure out where he fits in best. And I'll have to figure that out too. But I'm worried about his game conditioning. You know, as we practice, he's in full practice now. He seems to be fatiguing a little bit, you know, so I don't know how many long stretches he'll be able to play. You know, maybe some short stretches until I sense the fact where he's getting tired. And you'll see that more at the defensive end. You know, he's capable of playing tired at the offensive end, but at the defensive end, you know, if he's 7 foot on the perimeter and can't bend his knees and sit down in a stance, he's not going to do as much good. So he's got to play himself back into game shape now.
Is there any similarity to Troy's offense and any other Mountain West Conference foes, so you can get a little twofer with the scouting and all?
You know, they spread the floor. Obviously, they're going to play 5 guys on the perimeter a lot. You know, all 5 starters have made threes in games. So they're capable of spreading us out where you don't have a low post just sitting in the block. Now, they'll roll a guy in there if we switch and try to post him up, but they're trying to spread us out, drive the ball and kick it and move it and shoot threes. And the 5-man shoots threes. And so we're going to have to be diligent on who we're paying attention to, that we don't all of a sudden get pulled into the paint and they're kicking it out and making a bunch of threes against us tomorrow night.
It's like every team in the Mountain West when they go to certain sets, right?
Yeah. I mean, most teams don't have shooting 5 men, you know, that make threes. Usually they have a shooting 4-man, but this team, with their starting lineup, has a 5-man capable of shooting threes. So to pull Heidi and Farrow and Thock, some of those guys away from the basket, we have to make sure that they're aware if they switch, they're on a guard that can shoot, or if they stay even on the 5-man, they got to help and recover where we don't give up open threes.
Have you come close to using one of your challenges yet?
Yeah, I got to figure out how to do it. I used one in the exhibition game and lost it, so I'm pretty, you know, yeah, I think there's a lot of calls that you could use it on, but I'd like to be pretty selective where the game's really on the line. And we know college basketball, you know, most of it's going to go down to the last 5 minutes. That's when I'm going to need it. And so unless there's something that happens right in front of me where I can trust my eyes, I don't think I'll probably use one until the end of the game because I don't want to lose a timeout and put our team in that situation. So the rest, for the most part, do a good job. But even the ones they review, it hits 7 hands on the way out of bounds. And when they review it, they see if a fingernail hit it and it changes the rotation of the ball. So I don't think anybody's ever sure who it's off at the end of a game. But if the game's on the line and I have a challenge, it might be a time to use one.
Is there a particular type of call that you think you might be more inclined to use it on?
Probably out of bounds at the end of the game, something that's game-changing. You know, with a 1-possession game and a minute to go, that possession's important. And so usually you can use a timeout at that time anyway. So you challenge, you get a timeout anyway, and then if you win, you get another one. But I'll see how it goes. These guys do a pretty good job for the most part, and I don't. The ones they miss, who could ever get them? They got to do super slow-mo to see that they've even missed it. And so I'll be selective and hopefully win one or two over the course of this year.